Today we begin our study of research methodology with Unit 1, Foundations of Research and Problem Formulation. This unit is considered the foundation of the entire research process because every successful research project starts with a clear understanding of what research is, why it is conducted, and how a research problem is identified and formulated. Before collecting data, analyzing results, or writing reports, a researcher must first understand the basic concepts of research, research methods, research methodology, different types of research, the characteristics of good research, and the process of developing a research problem and hypothesis. A strong foundation in these concepts enables researchers to conduct meaningful, systematic, and scientifically sound investigations. Concept of research. Research is a systematic, objective, and scientific process of investigating a problem, answering a question, or generating new knowledge. It involves the careful collection, analysis, and interpretation of information to improve understanding or solve practical issues. Unlike everyday information gathering, research follows a structured and organized procedure that ensures reliability and validity. The term research literally means to search again or to investigate thoroughly. In academic and scientific contexts, research is conducted to discover new facts, verify existing knowledge, develop theories, or find solutions to real-world problems. Research contributes to the advancement of knowledge in fields such as education, medicine, engineering, social sciences, business, and technology. Several characteristics distinguish research from ordinary inquiry. Research is systematic because it follows a logical sequence of steps. It is empirical because it relies on observable and measurable evidence. It is objective because conclusions are based on facts rather than personal opinions. Research is also replicable, meaning other researchers can repeat the study and obtain similar results. Furthermore, research is cumulative because it builds upon previous studies and contributes to the growing body of knowledge. Motivation plays an important role in research. Some researchers are driven by intrinsic motivation, such as curiosity and a desire to discover new knowledge, while others are motivated by extrinsic factors such as professional recognition, academic requirements, funding opportunities, or career advancement. Regardless of the source of motivation, successful researchers demonstrate persistence, creativity, and commitment to ethical standards. Research objectives provide direction to the study. General objectives describe the broad purpose of the research, while specific objectives identify the precise tasks required to achieve the overall goal. Well-defined objectives help researchers remain focused throughout the investigation. Research methods versus research methodology. One of the most common misunderstandings among beginning researchers is the confusion between research methods and research methodology. Although these terms are related, they have different meanings. Research methods refer to the specific tools, techniques, and procedures used to collect and analyze data. Examples include surveys, interviews, observations, experiments, questionnaires, focus groups, and statistical analyses. Methods answer the question, how will the research be conducted? They represent the practical aspects of research. Research methodology, on the other hand, refers to the overall strategy, philosophical framework, and rationale that guide the selection and use of research methods. Methodology explains why a particular approach is chosen and how it aligns with the research objectives. It addresses questions such as why is this method appropriate, and what assumptions underlie this research approach. For example, a researcher studying the experiences of cancer survivors may adopt a qualitative methodology because the goal is to understand personal experiences and meanings. Within this methodology, interviews may be selected as the primary research method. Thus, methodology provides the theoretical foundation, while methods provide the practical tools for conducting the study. A clear understanding of methodology ensures that methods are selected logically and appropriately. Without a sound methodology, research may lack coherence, consistency, and scientific validity. Types of research. Research can be classified into several categories depending on its purpose, approach, and objectives. Understanding these classifications helps researchers select the most appropriate design for their studies. One common classification distinguishes between descriptive and analytical research. Descriptive research focuses on describing existing situations, characteristics, or phenomena. It answers questions such as what, where, when, and how much. For example, a national census describing population characteristics is a descriptive study. Analytical research goes beyond description and seeks to explain why certain phenomena occur. It involves examining relationships, causes, and underlying factors. Research can also be categorized as fundamental or applied. Fundamental research, also known as basic research, aims to expand theoretical knowledge without immediate practical application. For example, studying the structure of DNA primarily contributes to scientific understanding. Applied research uses existing knowledge to solve practical problems, such as developing medical treatments or educational interventions. Another important distinction is between quantitative and qualitative research. Quantitative research involves numerical data and statistical analysis. It seeks to measure variables, test hypotheses, and generalize findings to larger populations. Qualitative research focuses on understanding meanings, experiences, perceptions, and social contexts through non-numerical data such as interviews, observations, and documents. Research may also be classified as conceptual or empirical. Conceptual research focuses on developing theories, models, and abstract ideas through logical reasoning and literature analysis. Empirical research relies on direct observation, experimentation, and evidence collected from the real world. In modern research, many scholars combine quantitative and qualitative approaches in what is known as mixed methods research. This approach provides a more comprehensive understanding of complex research problems. Criteria of good research. Not all investigations qualify as high-quality research. Good research must satisfy certain scientific and ethical criteria. First, research must be systematic. This means that all stages of the study follow a logical and organized process. Second, research must be logical, using sound reasoning and appropriate analytical methods. Third, it must be empirical, relying on observable and verifiable evidence rather than assumptions or opinions. Another important criterion is replicability. Other researchers should be able to repeat the study and obtain similar results if the procedures are followed correctly. Good research must also be objective, minimizing personal bias and ensuring that conclusions are based on evidence. Accuracy and precision are equally important. Reliable instruments and appropriate measurement techniques must be used to collect valid data. Ethical conduct is another essential requirement. Researchers must respect participants' rights, maintain confidentiality, obtain informed consent, and avoid causing harm. In quantitative research, additional quality indicators include internal validity, which refers to the accuracy of causal conclusions, and external validity, which refers to the extent to which findings can be generalized to other populations or settings. In qualitative research, quality is assessed through credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. These criteria ensure that findings accurately represent participants' perspectives and can be trusted by readers. Defining and formulating the research problem. The research problem is the central issue or question that the study seeks to investigate. It represents the gap between the current situation and the desired understanding. Identifying and defining a research problem is often considered the most important step in the research process because it determines the direction of the entire study. The process usually begins with identifying a broad area of interest. Researchers then conduct a preliminary review of the literature to understand existing knowledge and identify unanswered questions. Through this review, they analyze the context, significance, and potential causes of the problem. The next step involves narrowing the topic to a manageable and specific focus. A broad topic such as online learning may be refined into a more specific problem such as the impact of online learning on academic performance among undergraduate students in rural colleges. A good research problem should be clear, focused, researchable, significant, feasible, ethical, and original. Researchers should avoid problems that are too broad, too narrow, already solved, impossible to investigate, or lacking practical or theoretical importance. Once the problem has been clearly identified, it is expressed in the form of a problem statement. A well-written problem statement provides a concise explanation of the issue, its significance, and the need for investigation. Formulating hypotheses. After defining the research problem, researchers often develop hypotheses to guide the investigation. A hypothesis is a tentative statement that predicts a relationship between variables and can be tested through empirical observation or experimentation. The most common type is the null hypothesis, represented as H0. It states that no relationship or difference exists between variables. The alternative hypothesis, represented as H1, states that a relationship or difference does exist. Hypotheses may also be directional or non-directional. A directional hypothesis predicts the specific direction of an effect or relationship. For example, students who study longer hours will achieve higher examination scores. A non-directional hypothesis predicts the existence of a relationship without specifying its direction. In exploratory research, researchers may begin with a working hypothesis. This is a preliminary assumption that helps guide the study and may be revised as new information emerges. A good hypothesis should be clear, specific, logical, testable, falsifiable, and relevant to the research problem. Hypotheses are often derived from existing theories, previous research findings, observations, or professional experience. By providing focus and direction, hypotheses help researchers select appropriate methods, collect relevant data, and conduct meaningful analyses. Case study illustration. Consider a researcher who observes that many small businesses in her city are reluctant to adopt digital payment systems. She becomes interested in understanding the factors influencing adoption. After conducting a literature review, she discovers that issues such as perceived security, technological knowledge, and age may influence business owners' decisions. Based on this information, she formulates the research problem: what factors influence digital payment adoption among small retailers? She initially develops a working hypothesis suggesting that perceived security and owner age may affect adoption rates. Following a pilot survey, she refines this into a specific directional hypothesis. Retailers under the age of 40 with high perceptions of payment security are more likely to adopt digital payment systems than older retailers with lower perceptions of security. This hypothesis provides a clear direction for designing the questionnaire, selecting variables, and conducting statistical analysis. Conclusion. Unit 1 provides the essential foundation upon which all research activities are built. Understanding the concept of research, distinguishing between research methods and research methodology, recognizing the various types of research, and applying the criteria of good research are fundamental skills for every researcher. Equally important is the ability to identify and formulate a meaningful research problem and develop testable hypotheses that guide the investigation. A researcher who masters these foundational concepts is better prepared to conduct systematic, ethical, and scientifically rigorous studies. The remaining stages of the research process, including literature review, research design, data collection, analysis, interpretation, report writing, and publication, all depend on the strong foundation established in this first unit.